Hello and welcome back to the Fish Locker out on the boat. We're heading out today. We're just trying to feather up a little bit of bait, and then we've got a long steam. So I'm hoping to get a couple of 3 fresh mackerel, hopefully something live bait size. That'll do nicely. That's 3 nice ones. It's a good start. All I'm doing is I'm fishing with some sabikis and a little metal spinner. Oh. I'm going to be heading a long way to fish over an area of reef, and then ideally, as the tide slackens off, that'll do for bait straight away. Happy with that. But that's a fantastic start. I'm going to be fishing over an area of reef with lures and hopefully live baits, and then we're going to anchor up. That's the plan. We've had a good start, we'll see how it goes. Whoop. And there's one on the lure. Right, let's get going. Just look at that. Absolute paradise. In February. Let's go. Got myself to the reef where I want to fish. And I've just run out of live bait and the float's just bobbed under. Literally didn't even have a chance to get the camera set up. There are some porpoise around, but the live bait's gone direct, like straight under the water twice. Have a look and see if it's still there. Yeah, that guy's been hit. Just didn't find the hook. All I'm going to do is I've just run adrift over this piece of reef. It goes everything from 90 feet up to 40 feet, and I'm just drifting along over the top of it. Run a live bait out, and I'm also going to fish with lures. Throw around a few different colours until I find out what's fishing. Yeah, there's feed everywhere. Little pilchards and mackerel everywhere. I've seen loads of dolphins and porpoise today. Let's see if we can find a pollock. First pollock of the day. It's not a bad size one. There you go. And a lovely little reef pollock. Oh, straight me fit. Oh, floats now. Just saw the float bob. Whew. jigging nicely. Oh yes, that is a nice one. That there, that's a coalfish. There's the hook. There's a lovely collie. See the difference between the one that I caught just earlier, which was a pollock, and this is a coalfish. You notice this lateral line where my finger is completely straight with the coalfish, whereas a pollock, it has a bump in the middle. And they are quite a bit darker. They have a smaller eye and a smaller underbite. I'm going to go forward this guy. That's a nice fish, that. Put him in there in a live bait bucket. But yeah, that worked perfectly. One on the live bait rig, just a locked in lead with a sliding float. This float is 141 gram float, and I have 3 feet of 20 pound fluoro ending in an 8/0 chino. But yeah, perfect. One on the lure, one on live bait. Can't ask for any more than that, can you? One last look. And away goes. Those are a little bit small. The coalfish, I left the coalfish because you don't catch very many of them. Pollock, I'm after something around about £5. Float's gone down again. That was literally 10 feet from the side of the boat. Another pollock followed it up to the surface then. And there's the live bait sticking out of its mouth. It's a tweezer's job, that one. Sometimes if the hook's down deep, if you're going through the bottom gill, you can turn the hook and push it out like that, look. See? There's a nice little pollock. And there's the bait. Was a live bait, is no longer a live bait. I'm bouncing these lures down on the bottom where I can, because if there's any codling, that's where they'll be. Your pollock and your coalfish will be up in the water, and your codling will be on the bottom. We will give this an hour for the tide to calm, and then we'll go and anchor up. Just missed a bite on the bottom there. It's always frustrating, that. I mean, quite often you can tell by the type of bite what something's going to be. Like a pollock or a cod or a bass or a mackerel. Or sometimes you get such a savage bite, you're like, oh, I wish I knew what that was. That's fishing though. Oh, missed it again. I think that was a bass. The way that savage take like that, I think it's a bass. Be a schoolie bass snapping at it. Bass can give like a hit. They've got a spike on the side of the gill. They come in and they smack things. I think that's what that is. Currently in 85 feet. Bit heavy weight here. but it is a good pollock. Oh, God, he run me on a merry dance. That is a fantastic eating size pollock, and he is absolutely engulfed that lure. See it right there at the back of his throat? That is a perfect sized eating fish. I'll use this to demonstrate what I was talking about when you get a deep hooked one. In this, if you take a pair of like needle nose pliers, you can see the hook right down in the back of there. If you go in through the gill like that and you get hold of the bend of the hook, you can push it out backwards like that. Well, that is a perfect size eating pollock. I'm over the moon with that. Yep, like I said, it was a wrasse. Taking the tail off the lure. Nothing you can do about it. A couple of porpoise come over to say hello. You can tell the difference between a harbour porpoise and a dolphin, because harbour porpoises' noses are almost completely flat, whereas a dolphin's got like a snout. Porpoises just end. I hope he doesn't fancy my live bait. Oh, got it. That had about 4 goes at that then. We've got another cracking pollock. There's the lure. When returning fish like pollock, some fish like bass, when you bring them in and they're played out, you bring them in and they're knackered. You can tell they're tired. Yeah. Oh, I lost it. Because they're real lethargic. Floats down. Gone to ground, that fish. It's found some kelp, that. Have to bring these other rods in and go around and chase it. See if we can't free it up. Managed to get my float back, thankfully. All I had to do was you just steam around till you're straight up and down on it, get a glove on it and just gently give it a tug. Lost the fish, but got the main thing that I was wanting was to make sure I kept the float. Oh, float's down. Whoa, that was a massive bite. Oh, it's off. God, that float went poof. That was a colossal bite, that one. And it's down again. We got it this time. I might have lost the live bait. Still there. This little lure rod is so much fun. There you go, there's another cracking pollock. There you go. That lure, even though it's lost its tail, is still fishing. Look. That's another nice eating size fish that, I'm going to take that. Seven to 24 gram lure rod, coupled with a Pen Clash 2 3000. Just a really nice balanced setup for making the inshore stuff fun. Get that pollock dispatched. That one let go. Must have only just been lightly hooked. Oh. It's followed it up that. There you go. Got a couple of wounds on him, this guy. You can tell that these guys are living in the kelp because they've still got the motley colours down the sides. Switched over to a bigger lure now. See if I can try and pick out some of the bigger fish. This one's just hooked in the side of the mouth. There you go, look. Another lovely pollock. And he's released. I love this light lure fishing inshore. Fishing in shallow water, so the fish up. That's a pollock on the sabikis. Put some sabikis over the side to try and catch some more live baits, and I'm 99% sure I've caught a pollock on it. Yeah. There you go. That was the hook. The water here is very up and down, so you've got to keep an eye on what you're doing. Right, I'm going to run my last drift. I'm going to run my last drift because I've got my last live bait. Now, I chose the size of lures today based on the size of the fish that I was catching. It's like the first little lure and the other little white one that I've got there, I thought just perfectly imitated one of these pilchards. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good imitation of a pilchard, and it seems to have worked. Now we're going to give this one last drift, see if we can't pull out another fish. I would have liked a codling, but very, very happy with those pollock. And then we'll go and anchor up. It's a lovely day. I'm in middle of February. What? Unbelievable, isn't it? Unbelievable. I have a collie and the float's come down. Literally I brought that fish in, turned the camera on, turned around and the float's straight under. I missed that. Never mind, you can't get them all. But yeah, there is a very aggressive coalfish. And a wrasse has taken the tail off my lure again. There you go. Got some rather unhappy looking clouds on the horizon over there. Yeah, I think we've got some rain coming. Finish this drift off and I get my coat on. We've got the anchor down, and because we're just about on slack tide, we're still at the mercy of the wind. When the tide decides what it wants to do, we should be able to sit. At the moment we're swinging around all over the place. Swinging around at anchor, all the lines end up crossing over each other. Make up a little tiny scratching rig. That's half an hour at this new spot, and we just keep getting loads of pecking bites. So what I'm assuming it is whiting and spider crabs. We've got a camera on the seabed. Hopefully that will give you some good footage. The clarity in the first location wasn't too bad. The seabed was big peaks and troughs and made up of small pebbles. Spider crabs, the occasional dogfish and whiting. What amazed me was the amount of tiny sea life down there. Little gobies and dragonettes everywhere. Now the seabed in the second location was fine sand. Very poor clarity. Just good enough to make out this female small eye ray. Just a fat whiting. The wind in these clips was really bad. Just as I was packing up, I had a nice bite on a scratching rod. The tiny scratching rig that I put down with these hooks on trying to catch a dab. This is what I've caught this ray on. Look at them thorns on them cheeks. You can tell this is a male ray. You can tell this is a male ray by these two here. These are called claspers. Just have to watch out for these thorns. And these teeth. He wasn't messing about, was he? He's really lifted my finger up. My own fault though, wasn't it? What a fantastic way to finish. Brilliant morning, landed straight onto the fish on that reef. Pollock. I've lost count of the number of pollock and coalfish from lures and live baits, and a fantastic male small eye ray. I call them small eye rays. Other people might know them as painted rays. It's two names for the same fish. I hope this has been interesting for you. All the very best. Take it easy. See you later.